Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football Monday night. The Georgia Bulldog commitment sweatshirt comes on, and this one is a monster, right? Five-star quarterback Jerry Curtis committing to Georgia. And then this one came down to Kirby Smart, Dan Lanning throwing haymakers to land one of the best players across the country in the 2026 cycle. Now, from a Georgia perspective, this is big for a couple of different reasons. One, it starts with getting one of, if not the best quarterbacks in the country coming to Athens. This is big because you look at across the country, game managing quarterbacks are not winning national championships. And we know the standard at Georgia is to win national championships every single year. In order to do that, you need a difference maker at quarterback. Jerry Curtis, to me, is that guy. There's not a box that Jerry Curtis does not check. But I think my favorite thing that Jerry Curtis brings to the table for Georgia, this kid is getting better as a football player, which is normally not something we talk about when we're talking five-star quarterbacks. They're normally kind of know what they are junior, senior year of high school. You look at Jerry Curtis, sophomore year, 56% completion percentage, 25 touchdowns to 9 interceptions, was ranked really high as a football player because of the athletic profile he had, but, was still developing as a quarterback. You fast forward to that junior season, the completion percentage goes up to 70%, 40 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. I love when you can land commitments out of the high school ranks with players that are continuing to get better at the sport. Jerry Curtis is one of those. And again, we don't say that for a lot of five-star quarterbacks. You kind of know their guys freshman, sophomore year. The second thing with Jerry Curtis is the athletic profile that this kid possesses. It's really hard to find quarterbacks that, to me, it's the trifecta, right? Do they have the arm talent? Do they have the size? Do they have the athleticism? Jerry Curtis has all of it. I mean, you look at the arm talent one, it's an absolute howitzer when it comes out of this kid's hands. It just feels a little bit different. Pushes the ball down the field at an elite level, can rip it in there when he needs to, can layer the football, can throw off platform. There's not a throw that Jerry Curtis can't make at the quarterback position. Then you look at the size. This is what you want in a quarterback, right? 6'4", 225, extremely difficult to bring down in the pocket. But then the athlete, like the athleticism is something that pops when you turn on Jerry Curtis. You don't really assume 6'4", 225, this kid's going to be able to get himself out of trouble the way he does. Really twitchy, really, really good getting himself outside the pocket, getting himself out of trouble, throwing off platform. He's a difference maker as an athlete at the quarterback position, which to me is becoming such an important part of the quarterback position, not only at the collegiate ranks, but at the NFL ranks as well. Like, gone are the days of these, statue pocket passers that are just going to dice you up from the pocket. You look at the best quarterbacks in the sport, they're all solid athletes. They all can get themselves out of trouble. Jared Curtis certainly can do that. So you're talking about a player that's getting better at the quarterback position. You're talking about a guy that checks every single box you want to see checked at the quarterback spot. That's what makes it a special commitment for Georgia. And then the second part of this conversation is, what does this mean for Georgia in the 2026 cycle, which I want to get into as well. Before we get into it, as always, the Georgia fans, y'all let it fly in the comment section. Hey, I'm sure there are some Oregon fans that are listening to this as well. Y'all let it fly too. Like, this one was a really fun recruitment to talk about over the last couple of weeks. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, let's get into it now. Again, we talked about Jared Curtis. Box checker from an athletic profile standpoint, has just about everything you are looking for a difference maker at the quarterback position, a guy that can elevate everybody around him, getting better at the sport. We love the prospect of Jerry Curtis. There's no reason to get into the film because I'm sure many Georgia fans have already watched the film, and I don't need to sell any Georgia fans on how good this kid is. The more exciting part for me is, what does it mean for Georgia in 2026? This is the kind of momentum you want heading into the month of May, June, and July. Like, there's some real buzz around this Georgia program, specifically when it comes to selling the pass catches across the country. Hey, Georgia's the spot for you. When you have a quarterback like Jared Curtis, not only this kind of player is going to be a gravitational pull for prospects across the country to come to Georgia, but specifically, the offensive playmakers, which is a position I think Georgia wants to recruit better. You look at the 2026 class as we sit right now, you have some guys you like, right? Lincoln Keys from Michigan. As a Michigan fan, like that kid a lot. Obviously, Vance Badford from California. This goes a long way in terms of keeping a guy like Vance Badford in your class in 2026. But let's start talking about some other names. Obviously, the next name we're all monitoring is Jackson Camwell. This only helps Georgia's chances at Jackson Camwell. There's no doubt in my mind. And if you're Georgia, you can lock down the best tackle in the cycle, along with one of, if not the best quarterbacks in the cycle. Those are arguably two of the most important positions to get right at the high school rank, specifically that tackle spot. You lock down Jared Curtis and Jackson Camwell over the next couple of days, you're feeling really good about what your 2026 cycle is going to look like. Now, what does this mean for the other pass catchers that Georgia's going after? I think the first name you're looking at is a guy like Mark Bowman. And this happens to be another, Georgia-Oregon battle with Texas in there and USC. You're going to recruit Mark Bowman out of there in the state of California at modern day. Your number one sales pitch is the development that we've seen from Georgia tight ends. But now the second sales pitch is, hey, you come to Georgia, you know that you're going to have some special quarterback play to go along with that. And Mark Bowman, this dude's a difference maker at the tight end position. One of the more impressive tight end prospects that I've seen over the last couple of years. Reclass from 2027 to 2026. Don't give a damn about that. This kid's ready to play as a freshman in 2026. Another name to look at, Caden Protho. This is a guy, in-state kid from Georgia. You're battling the Florida Gators out for him. I think you're battling Texas as well. This is another one where you go to this kid and say, hey, you come to Georgia. Again, the development of the tight end position is where you're selling first. You're also selling Jared Curtis and what Jared Curtis can do for this offense and what Jared Curtis can do for you. Derek Cooper, another one from the state of Florida, top running back who's an elite pass catcher out of the backfield as well. This is another name that no doubt the commitment of Jared Curtis helps with Georgia's recruiting efforts with some of these guys in the skill position. I look at the 2026 cycle, and there's one thing that you can kind of take to the bank, and that is Georgia recruiting the front seven position. It's going to be elite. Whether you're talking about a guy like Tyler Atkinson, whether you're talking about some of these guys on the defensive line, Georgia's going to fill it up with front seven defenders. I think the big thing that Georgia fans wanted to see kind of take a step is, hey, we want to recruit the quarterback position better. We want to recruit the offensive playmaker position better. Jared Curtis, he got that step right. And now you can use Jared Curtis to recruit all these difference makers on the outside in kind of the offensive skill. We don't say this often. This is big one in terms of where this program is going. Big one for Georgia. Will have ramifications on the high school. It has a lot of, we don't have to get into it tonight, but this is one that the quarterback dominoes are starting to fall. Because Georgia was leading for a couple other guys too. Maybe a guy like Bo Bentley, maybe a guy like Landon Duckworth. This is going to have some implications outside of Georgia as well. We'll talk about that in the coming days. The Georgia fans, y'all got a good one. And I would expect this to really help Georgia's efforts over the next couple of days and weeks on the recruiting trail as well. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys. Have a good Monday night, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.